G'day guys, I'm Ragnark. Today I'm going to show you the 4 covenants for the Shaman class. So I'm going to show you the Shaman abilities depending which covenant we pick. So I'll start with the ones that I find not as good and I'll finish with my favorite one. So first one I'll go over is Kyrian. Now I don't think this is the worst one, but I don't think it's the best either. So first let's have a look at what Kyrian has to offer. So here's the male armor set for anyone who picks Kyrian and is a Shaman or a Hunter. This is what their mount looks like. It's like a lion looking mount, pretty cool. And we get a signature ability. The signature ability is something that every class gets if they choose Kyrian, and then they get their class ability. And Shamans get the Vesper Totem, which is unique to Shamans. The Summon Steward ability, you summon like a little owl, and he comes and he gives you some potions that give you 20% health and remove all curse, disease, poisons, and bleed effects. So it's kind of like stone form for dwarves. It's actually really powerful, good defensive. He does a few other services for you as well. And then the Vesper Totem. So this will summon a totem. So this is a 1 minute cooldown and it summons a totem at the targeted location for 30 seconds. And your next 3 damage spells or abilities will cause the totem to radiate 600 arcane damage up to 6 enemies. So up to 6 enemies near the totem. And your next 3 healing spells will heal up to 6 allies near the totem for 700 health. So casting this ability again while the totem is active will relocate the totem. So a lot of information in there, so I'll demonstrate what these abilities do. So here we can test the ability. So before you pick your covenant, you can go around to all 4 of them and test their abilities on the training dummies here, right? So first I'll summon the steward, right? I'll show you what he does. He's pretty cool. So he gives you some potions, right? So he'll come along and give you some potions. And in your bag, you'll have 3 potions. So you can see the Phial of Serenity. This is a conjured item, so if you log out, it will disappear, but you can just summon him again. It's only a 5 minute cooldown, and it'll give you 3 more. And you can macro this with your health stones or your defensives, as it's not on the global cooldown, which is nice. It does have a 3 minute cooldown, so it's not as bad as most potions, which is a 5 minute cooldown. So it's actually a nice little thing to have, and only Kyrians will get this potion. If you talk to the steward, he has a few other services. So need a favor. Basically it turns him into a vendor. So you click on him and you can buy some water to restore mana, or you can buy some food for health. You can buy both. You can sell crap in your bag if you want to, which is handy to have. He's got a couple other things. There is a second option here, which is not showing at the moment because I've used it and it's on cooldown. It's a 4-hour cooldown, and he allows you to reset your talent. It'll give you a buff like the Tome of Clear Mind, and that will give you 1 minute to change all your talents, honor talents, normal talents, whichever you want. There's a 1-day cooldown. Tell one of your friends how great they are. Basically, if you click that, it'll change your summon ability to a give compliment ability. For 1 minute cooldown, you can give someone a compliment. It's a 1-day cooldown, so I'm not actually sure what it does. I'm assuming it must be something good because you can only do it once a day. You can also get him to play you a song. I'm not actually sure what that does. Oh, that's pretty cool. Plays a little song for me. Oh, I'm glad he's not singing. And he'll also follow you around and play the song at the same time. So if it starts to drive you nuts, you can tell him to piss off. You just say, thanks, see you later, and off he goes, playing his freaking trumpet. All right, so that's the Kyrian signature ability. Now let's talk about the totem. The totem, as we said before, 3 damage spells, it will AoE some damage. 3 healing spells, it will AoE some healing next to the totem. So you can use 3 damage and 3 healing before the totem will expire, and the totem will last 30 seconds or until you use those 6 charges. So I'll demonstrate a couple of things. So first, let's just say, okay, I want to put it over here and heal some allies. Now, if I heal myself or heal a friend, notice the healing wave around the totem. That's healing, right? So they'll do that 3 healing spells. The 4th one, like this, doesn't do anything. So then I relocate it, and then I can damage this guy, and it will damage things around the totem. See, 1, 2, 3. And then it will despawn after it runs out of charges or the 30 seconds is up. Yeah, I still have a few seconds left. So you can have it out for 30 seconds or the 6 charges, and you can move it around as much as you want while it's active. It does have a 3-second cooldown each time you move it though, so just be aware of it. All right, next one I'll show you is the Night Phase. So Night Phase, probably one of the prettiest looking zones, Ardent Weald. I really liked Ardent Weald. So here's the transmog male armor set for shamans and hunters, and this is what their mount looks like. It's a stag, nice pretty looking stag. And we get soul shape. So this is basically a fox form, 1.5 minute cooldown. You turn into a vulpin, which is basically a fox looking thing, and it teleports you 15 yards forward and increases your movement speed by 50%. So it's a 50% sprint, and you may reactivate soul shape every few seconds to teleport again. So it's like a sprint with a couple of blinks in it, and it lasts 12 seconds or indefinitely while in a rest area. So if I used it in this area, I can use it permanently because I'm in a rest area. But if I'm in combat or out in a zone, it'll wear off after 12 seconds. So you can get about 3 blinks out of it in that time. And then we've got Phase Transfusion, which transfers the life force up to 4 enemies in the targeted area, dealing 5k nature damage evenly split to each enemy over 2.8 seconds. So evenly split. That means that if we do it to 1 target or 4 targets, it won't make a difference in how much damage it does. Because if it's 4 targets, it will divide it by 25% per target, right? So just be aware of that. Pressing Night Fae Transfusion again after you've drained some damage, it will release it as healing around you by 15% of the damage done up to 4 allies. So I'll demonstrate that. Make no sense when I show you. So test the abilities. And you can test all these abilities yourself, which is nice before you commit to them. So you can test it on the training dummies here. Alrighty, so first I'll show you the fox form. So as you can see, we just blinked and there's a few second cooldown and boom, we can blink again. So yeah, every 5 seconds we can do a blink. So for the last 12 seconds, we can do 3 blinks because you blink as you enter, blink at 5 seconds, blink at 10 seconds, and then you have 2 seconds remaining on the speed buff. Now for shamans, the blink thing's pretty cool, but as far as the movement speed goes, it's not that different to Ghost Wolf, because Ghost Wolf, is it's only 30% speed, right? But if you take the Spirit Wolf talent, that will buff it to 50% speed. And if you've got War Mode on and take the Spectral Recovery on its talent, you get another 10% speed. So you can actually, you run 60% speed, which is faster than the fox form. So basically, for shamans, this isn't as good, but for slower classes like paladins and death knights and warlocks, this would be much more useful to have. Getting around indoors would be really nice. Yeah, so let's test the Night Fae Shaman ability. So basically, you click it, and then you got to click the target. You can use a mouse over macro for this, and it drains. Basically, in a way, it kind of drains health. So once you've done that, you can press it again, and boom, it will release a healing spell around you, and that will heal up to 5 allies. So you go into your group of allies and hit it again, and you'll do a nice little off heal there. Yeah, the ability's cool, like it looks cool, but yeah, I feel like it could be better. It's not amazing. You got to stand still for it. It's 2 globals. You got to cast it, and you got to cast it again to release the heal and position yourself. Yeah, I don't know. Like it's cool, but yeah, I think it's the worst out of the 4 of them, to be honest with you. All right, next let's have a look at Necrolords. A lot of people have been looking at Necrolord for Primordial Wave if you've been following the Shaman streams. So basically, let's have a look at what Necrolord can offer us. We get this Necrolord armor set. We get a pretty cool looking skull on one of the shoulders. The mount, they get like a giant undead ram looking thing. Like you can see how small my orc is on it. It's quite a big ram. We get Fleshcraft. So Fleshcraft is probably going to be quite useful for Shaman because it's basically a bubble. It makes us tankier. And it lasts for 2 whole minutes or until the shield breaks. And it's a 2-minute cooldown. So even if it expires after 2 minutes, you can cast another one. And it gives you 20% of your health as a bubble. But if you channel it near a corpse, it claims that essence to grow your shield up to 50% of maximum health. So up to 50% means some enemies might only give you 30%, some might give you 50%. And it says the most effective against powerful enemies. So if you kill an elite, it'll probably give you a 50% shield. Primordial Wave blasts your target, does a bit of damage, or it can do healing if you use it on an ally. It'll cast Flame Shock if you use it on an enemy, right? So it's like, if your Flame Shock's on cooldown, you can use this as a second Flame Shock. It'll also cause your next Lava Burst to also hit all targets affected by your Flame Shock. So if you're really good at spreading Flame Shocks, you can have some pretty nice Lava Bursts. So let's grab this ability and I'll just demonstrate it to you. So first I'll show you Fleshcraft. So this is, so it's a 4-second channel. And if you do it over a corpse, it makes the bubble buffed up. It will absorb more. But right now it's just 20%, so it'll do about 4k damage prevention because I've got 20k health roughly. That will last for 2 whole minutes or until it breaks. And then after 2 minutes, I can cast another one. Now, Primordial Wave is the Shaman ability. So how we're going to use that is we want it Flame Shocks on everything, right? So we'll put a Flame Shock on him. Flame Shock's a 6-second cooldown, so we can only get a couple out. So I'll put a Flame Shock on him and then Primordial Wave. And then, oh, there we go. Lava Burst, bang. And it hits everything. But it's only on your first Lava Burst. The only time you'll get a double one is if you get the free Lava Burst double proc, which can happen sometimes, the echo effect. So it's only the single Lava Burst, so it's not amazing, but it does look cool. And it looks cool when you get the double proc off it as well. So yeah, it's pretty cool. You just got to keep your Flame Shocks up. For enhancement, it doesn't work with Lava Burst, because obviously Enhance doesn't have Lava Burst. They will just have Lightning Bolt. So Lightning Bolt, you'll use that Maelstrom weapon, so you get the damage buff for Lightning Bolt, and you can use it that way. So it'd be alright for Enhance, probably not as good as Elemental though. Alright, so let's have a look at Venthyr. So Venthyr is my favourite one, in case you haven't figured it out already. Let's have a look at what they have. So obviously their armor set is probably the coolest looking one, in my opinion. Their mount, probably not as cool as some of the other mounts, but not bad either. It's like a bear with armor on it. Kind of looks like a rhino. It's got red eyes. It's pretty cool. Door of Shadows signature ability. This is basically a teleport. I'll show you how this works. It's a 1-minute cooldown, 35-yard range, 1.5-second cast. And then we've got Chain Harvest. This is kind of like an AoE Drain Life ability that's an instant cast. It's probably the coolest ability for Shamans, and probably the most powerful, I'd argue, for both Elemental and Enhance, maybe even Resto as well. So what it does is it's a 1.5-minute cooldown, which is 90 seconds. It's a 2.4-second cast for Elemental, and for Enhance it's 1.5-second cast, but Enhance, it also works with Maelstrom. So if you've got Maelstrom weapon and 5 stacks of that, it will become an instant cast. So you can instant cast Chain Harvest as Enhance. Elemental has something really cool I'll show you in a sec. So this sends a wave of anima to the target, and it jumps to additional nearby targets, which deals 3k shadow damage up to 5 enemies and restores 3k health up to 5 allies. So this is all in the one spell, right? Healing, damage, everything, all just done. One global. That's what makes it so good. It's really smooth, it's really nice. And for each target critically struck, the cooldown of Chain Harvest is reduced by 5 seconds, right? So it's not always 90-second cooldown, it can be a little less. Let's grab this ability. Alright, first I'll show you the teleport. So you click that and then you just click on where you want to teleport to, up to 35 yards away. So you can just teleport right next to yourself, or you can teleport in the distance. Let's just say the swellies everywhere and you need to get out of it, you can just teleport. It's a pretty quick cast, 1.5 seconds, not too bad. Very useful ability. I can see it being used in Mythic Plus and raids, even in PvP. I'm not sure if it works up cliffs or anything like that. I think it's got to be in line of sight, and I think it needs to have pathway, kind of like a warrior charge. So haven't really tested that though, so it might be broken, it might not be. Alright, and of course the Chain Harvest. Now this is my favorite ability because it works with Echoing Shock. So for those who don't know what Echoing Shock, it's a new elemental talent in Shadowlands. It shocks the target for elemental damage. It's only a 30-second cooldown, 40-yard range. It's an instant cast, and it creates this Ancestral Echo, which means your next damage ability or healing spell will be cast a second time, 1 second after, for free. So ideally, if I cast Echoing Shock and then hit Chain Harvest, it will cast twice, right? So Chain Harvest. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 targets here, right? Because remember, it counts for friendly targets, so it can hit up to 5 enemies and 5 friendly. So all up 10 targets. So it should hit all 6 of these. Maybe this little dude here. So if I use Echoing Shock first, let's see if it casts twice. Here we go. 1, 2. Yep, it casted twice. Okay, so it works with Echoing Shock. That pretty much makes it the most powerful ability out of all of them. Maybe Primordial Wave can compete with it. However, it's probably a lot harder to do. So you probably need to be really skilled to pull that off. But for the average player, I think, yeah, if you use Echoing Shock and then Chain Harvest, yeah, it will definitely do way more damage than the other abilities, I believe. And that second one, it's free damage. So while that second one goes off, you can cast a global on something else, like a lava burst or something. Pretty cool ability. But anyway, that's my review on the Shaman Covenant ability so far. Now just keep in mind there is still tuning to be done. Shadowlands is still a few weeks away, and they're tuning Covenant abilities like crazy as we speak. So just because Chain Harvest is good now doesn't mean it will be good by launch. So just keep that in mind. If anything changes too much, I'll make another video on this to keep you guys updated. Thanks for watching, guys. Feel free to like and subscribe and leave a comment if you want me to cover anything else, other classes, for example. And I'll see you in the next video.